let's start. So, yeah, let's first take it back to when you first came into Afghanistan.
Yes.
Why, what drew you into that?
So first, I actually did see one of those Drew Binsky videos on YouTube where he was talking about travelling. It was some really good stuff. And I saw Afghanistan and I thought, I've heard a lot about this, but I don't actually know much about it. It's just always dropped in the news as, the worst possible place. I did some research. It's filled with history. It's beautiful. It's honestly a beautiful country.
Yeah.
And it does have some religious connotations and history behind it. So I thought, what, before I slave away, for 30 years in an investment banking job, I'm going to go to one of these countries. I'm going to get a tour guide. I'm going to look around.
Yeah.
I haven't travelled properly. I see all these kids at university going on holidays all the time, but this is my type of trip. I want to go. I want to see what's going on. So I started doing research. And, the FBI, CIA, MI5, every single news channel was saying, Kabul might fall in 200 days. And then other news articles that were saying possibly 60 days were laughed away. So I'm thinking, wow, I'm only going for like less than a week. I might as well just pop down, It'll be tight, but I'll get out before something goes wrong.
So wait, you saying when you walked into the embassy and you first told them, and this was before it was even had escalated a bit?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
What happened when they walked in?
Yeah, I walked in and they were like, are you looking for Dubai embassy? And I was like, no, Afghanistan. And they're like, oh yeah, you work around here. I'm like, no, I'm looking to speak to the consulate. I'm looking to speak to the ambassador.
Yeah.
And they go, okay, what for? You doing a business visa? I go, tourism visa. And they just kind of stop and go, tourism visa. And then everyone starts speaking the native language in the reception desk.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, wow, okay, this is lovely. And they go, yeah, sure, but why? I'm like, tourism. And they just took that as an answer and it's like, fair enough. He's probably a Fed, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I just filled out a quick form. Oh, cute dog. Filled out a quick form. And yeah, it worked out in the end.
And you got it quite easily?
Yeah, really easily. People think it's some sort of mission just to get a visa, but most of the time it's just 2 pieces of paperwork, some supporting evidence, and then just a quick statement.
Yeah. And so then fast forward a few months and then you had got your visa by this point, and you thought, I'm going to go into Afghanistan to see it, because you said this is like your type of trip, right? And you said, I was researching, you said something about like you wanted somewhere a bit dangerous or a bit fun. What was the
I just wanted like a raw world. I didn't want to sit in a resort. If I went to Mexico, I wouldn't stay in a resort. I would walk out a little bit and explore, because I don't like the idea of relaxing too much in the traditional sense. I don't like sitting down and sunbathing. I just want to go out and explore a different world. And it's a whole different perspective that I've never seen before. When I went to Ukraine, I was shocked, but it was amazing. So I just want more of that. And Afghanistan was the most dangerous place for Christians too, so I thought, I'll go there with some money and I'll do some charity work whilst there, so it's win-win for everyone.
Yeah, because this is kind of part of the thing, and we'll go more into the story of like the experience when it was there and how quickly it unfolded. But what I found really interesting is, when it first kind of blew up into that mainstream media thing, and people, were quick to jump on, and we spoke about this a bit earlier. They're like, this guy's just some like crazy or some trust fund person, or is doing it for the wrong reasons. But you've actually, which I really admire as well, I really admire you for doing this, is you're doing it for a good cause. You're doing it for charity work, and it's not like you have been given this by any means. Like, you worked hard for this.
No, I've never received a single penny off my parent. Never. It's either come from the government in terms of welfare, because we were under the poverty line quite literally, or it was just because I worked 2 jobs at a time. So
you saved up for it?
Yeah, I saved up. I worked hard. I never went on nights out at university. I never kind of went out with friends ever. I always was just working, and that's my decision. And I think I did earn that trip to some degree. I understand the perspective if, I was a rich snobby kid that just wanted to go and see, all this war and just kind of smile at it and take photos. That's scummy, but that definitely wasn't me.
Yeah.
And then when I got on a plane, I flew from London to Turkey, and then Turkey to Afghanistan. But this is a big thing. When I was on the plane, on the way from Turkey to Afghanistan, there were TVs built into the back of the actual seats. So I was watching it, and I saw the Taliban were taking over. It was a BBC live stream.
Hello and welcome if you're watching in the UK or around the world. We start with breaking news now. Taliban fighters have reached the Afghan capital, Kabul. Some reports say they've begun entering the city, but a spokesman for the militants said that they'd been told to wait. The Afghan presidential palace has tweeted that gunshots have been heard at a number of points around Kabul.
The Taliban anxious to show themselves as unstoppable. And who's to say they're not? Two of the country's biggest cities, Herat and Kandahar, have fallen in the past 24 hours. The government seemingly incapable of stemming the tide.
Surprising situation. I've been speaking to Kabul residents all night and day. This is not what they thought would happen.
So I started pointing to the people next to me. I was doing the story face and I was like, look at this, look at this. And they started yelling, yeah! So I was like, oh, damn, okay.
The people on the plane were yelling, yeah, at the Taliban
and there were a bunch of
over.
students too, they were under 16 years old. So they were just like yelling and screaming and cheering at the sight of it. And I was there like, oh, okay. And the people in the Turkish Airlines, they look concerned. They look very concerned. Then when I landed, I got a bunch of messages from my tour guide and I was like, what's going on? Something advanced. He's like, no, brother, it's just Western media. It's they're lying. And when I spoke to all my other contacts, and then I looked at the news site and I'm thinking, wow, the government can never be wrong. I'm safe.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what happened. And as I walked out the airport, some guy came up to me and goes, I'll help you find your tour guides because the waiting area is in a different area. I know it's a scam straight away. Yeah. So he walks me about 4 meters and then he goes, oh, you pay me now, brother. And I go, I pay you. And he goes, yeah, you pay me. And I go, I pay you. And he goes, yeah. And he gets more frustrated. And then I hand him a £1 because it was like a 5-second walk. And I basically just go, you're paid more hourly than me, and I would just walk off.
Yeah.
And then when I get into the airport, I see a bunch of military people, Western people, loading weapons and supplies into a military truck. And they kind of give me this look of, what's this guy doing here? And then they just walk away. So it was lovely stuff.
And then was there first of all, was there any stories from Afghanistan which you think are particularly interesting? Was there anything which shocked you, first of all? Yeah, when you left the airport? Yeah,
as soon as I left the airport, we went onto a main road, and with that main road, we had children running after us. So we were going at 30 miles per hour, and we had children grabbing onto the car, and these were children as young as 8 years old, just begging for money. And apparently it's really common. Apparently they're actually quite well off just because they do that. And then some of the Western military people are obligated to give them money just because they don't want these children injured. So they would just hand them £5, £2. That was cool. And then they were well off in their region relatively anyway. So that was kind of bizarre. And then I went to get some money out of the ATM, and I was like, okay, I will draw $200 or pounds or whatever. So I tried to do that. And this was at the central bank of Kabul, so it's like going to central London or central New York.
It's meant to be one of the
it's like the big institution.
Places, yeah.
It didn't have $200 in the ATM.
And we later heard that, as you say, people were trying to withdraw money. There was so much panic at the bank that the guards had to shoot to push the people back. Were seen trying to withdraw their savings from ATMs as fears gripped the capital.
And then I thought, oh, well, they must have just emptied it recently. I'll go to another bank. So I do the same, no money. And I walk into the central bank, like the main institution for money in the whole of Afghanistan. They're like, oh, we don't have that much money on us. I'm thinking, you have $200? Okay, fair enough. So I withdrew 50 and then just carried on my journey. But that kind of hit home a little bit. I was thinking, wow, they have a huge liquidity issue. So yeah, my kind of inner banker.
That's crazy. Was it at that time on the first day when you arrived, was it quite calm? Completely calm, yeah.
The day I arrived was kind of their equivalent of Sunday. So everyone was just chilling, the roads are quiet relatively anyway. Afghanistan has a huge traffic issue, it's insane.
Yeah.
But everyone was just chilling, they saw me, they shook my hand, they didn't seem surprised because they're used to seeing white people in the central regions anyway. They invited me for food, everyone invited you for tea, people were really kind. I would say they're kinder than people in Birmingham.
So they were the same, so they were like a friendly type of people?
Oh, exactly, yeah. Incredibly friendly. Some of them gave weird looks and you could tell they just didn't want to be associated. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
You get it anywhere. But most people just wanted to shake your hand and meet you because they get a lot of military people but hardly any tourists, which is lovely.
And then at what point, because obviously it sounds like it was still, when you arrived, it was at least it was calm in some ways, even though there was some signs of poverty and like some problems evident, but like at what point was there a stage, was it a gradual climb to like, okay, this is getting more dangerous or this is getting worse? Like, take me through the...
Yeah, sure. So on the second day we went to the Pashtu Valley. Oh no, it was the third day actually. Third day we went to the Pashtu Valley. Yeah. And then from there, this was the area where the Soviets stopped originally in their invasion during the last war. So I went around the museum. There was loads of guards there already, basically just protecting the place. And I started asking about the Taliban a little bit, just out of curiosity. They were like, no, brother, they're ages away. We haven't heard anything from it. Everything says it's fine, a few hundred miles up north. We're all good. So I think, oh, okay, brilliant. And then the next morning, I wake up and people are going online a little bit crazy about my post, which I didn't expect to happen. And then in the morning, the Taliban registered or sent off a post on social media basically saying, hey, Kabul should surrender by 4 p.m. If not, we start killing people.
Damn, was there like a moment? Because clearly I think you're very brave. Like I will give you this, or as in, like I like adventures as well, but was there a moment when you were like, okay, did you ever feel like my life's in danger here, or did you feel scared or threatened?
Oh yeah, I didn't know at the point that the Taliban were actually being kind to Westerners, so I thought if they saw me, they'd kill me, right?
Really?
Yeah, that's what I instantly thought. I was like, yeah, I'm probably maybe dead now. And I think there's a fine line between being brave and being stupid, and I'm pretty much on a tightrope at the moment. Yeah. But I really did think if they see me, they kill me. But at the end of the day, I'm really religious, so I think if I die doing charity work, I'm happy doing that. Like, if I die, it's not my issue anymore. If I don't die, that's good. If I'm in pain, it'll be temporary. I was just really content with it. Yeah. Because I went through a really dark time when I was homeless, so nothing affects me since then. I don't know why, it just doesn't click my brain. I can deal with this stuff.
So is it like because you reached maybe a low point and then? Yeah. Would you say that was like your lowest?
Yeah, it was this point where I was seriously thinking if I don't get into university, I'm going to be homeless forever, so I'm just going to, off myself a little bit.
Really?
I've got to admit, that was like it was a dark point. I'm over it completely, but I still recognise it as like a dark time.
That makes me sad to hear that you were like in that place. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Birmingham is terrible, right? But
I'm happy now that you seem to be. Because some people, they call this crazy and like they'd say it's radical, but at the end of the day, you're doing this. You seem to have found your purpose in many ways. Yes. This is for a good cause, and it's making you happy. Do you think like has it given you some sense of purpose from when you came from that such a low point?
I think so. From that low point, I found religion, and it brought a great deal of comfort. It made a lot of sense to me. Yeah. And then from there, travelling to Afghanistan kind of gave me that direction, because I was thinking, well, I'm going to go into banking and I'm going to work for 30 years. I'm going to work 100-hour weeks as you do in investment banking. Yeah. I'll get all these worthless qualifications. And then from there, I'm going to retire at 40 years old on a little dividend fund and then so on. And I was just kind of like, is this it? But, whatever it's expected of me. And now I'm thinking, wow, I get to travel the world, doing good stuff, seeing the world, and, enjoying myself. Yeah. And I've kind of created like a little legacy. Because I guarantee I'm not going to be sitting on my deathbed regretting this. I'm going to be sitting on there going, yeah, I did that and I'm proud of it. And at the end of the day, I think if I tell my grandchildren this story, they're going to think it's cool. And that's all that matters, really.
You're going to have so many stories to tell the grandkids.
I just hope I'm around to tell them.
I think you will. So do I, man.
Yeah. Knowing me, I'll probably die from slipping a banana peel or something.
Yeah, through all of these all these crazy, like, most dangerous places in the world. And something like that.
Yeah. Might get stabbed in London or something.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, so there was a point where you thought the Taliban, you were like, if they're going to capture me, I'm going to die, or this could potentially go badly wrong.
Certainly, yes. I thought I was going to be held ransom, so I joked online that my lordship title would be used for negotiation. I'll pretend I'm someone important if they can, ransom me or something. Yeah. The media took that seriously, and they didn't see the sense of humour in it. But
they actually thought?
Yeah, they actually thought I was.
On your bank card, for those of the people who are watching or listening who don't know, you're legally a lord.
Legally a lord.
Tell us about, or maybe we explain. Okay, let's talk about how first of all you get the lordship first, and then we can finish off the rest of the Afghan story after this.
So I kept seeing ads on Facebook basically saying, oh, you can buy this lordship certificate, haha, funny gag gift. And I was like, oh, that's funny,
Because you're legally a lord.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought, you know, I'll buy the certificate, it'll be a funny little gag, I'll just joke that I went from being homeless to being a lordship of a manor. And no one knows what a lord is, technically. There's no legal definition like with a doctor or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
So I thought I'll buy it, whether it's like £12, it's an impulse purchase. I bought it, it came, and I looked at the certificate and I go, wait, this is like, it was like the Patrick Bateman scene off American Psycho, you know, the tasteful thickness of it.
Look at that subtle off-white coloring. The tasteful thickness of it. Oh my God. It even has a watermark.
It's even got a watermark and so on. Wow. It was beautiful. It had like engravings and golds. And
How much did it cost, by the way?
Like £12. £12, $12.
So it was nothing.
Yeah, it was nothing. So I go, wait a minute. This looks like a legit certificate. I'm going to frame this. I framed it. And I thought, wait, what if I walk into a bank wearing a suit and just ask to change my title? Worst they can say is no. The best thing that can happen is it happens, and then it's just hilarious.
Do you think, is it like, it's not fraudulent, like they couldn't,
No.
you couldn't get in trouble?
No.
Because we called a little bit about this before, and I was thinking, I
Yeah,
want to try this.
Yeah, I looked into it a little bit. It's not even fraudulent. As long as you don't go, oh, hey, I own a massive manor and I am rich. Because they can see your bank account anyway. They saw I was a student anyway. And I just walked into the bank with my finest suit. It was a small bank in Loughborough. And I basically go, oh, excuse me, yes, I've got the certificate. I need to change my title. And they're like...
Wait, do you like...
I put on the voice. I put on voice. It was more kind of a, oh, good morning. Hello, yes, hello. Please can you help me? I'm looking to change my title. And they were like, oh, yeah, they were like, sup, mate, you know, yeah, come on over to the desk. I was like, oh, excellent.
And you had a suit on.
Yeah, I had a flashy suit. It was early in the
smart.
morning, so they were like, I don't want to deal with this, you know, they're tired. And they looked at the certificate and they looked back at me. And I was just smiling like, oh, yeah, it's so obvious, you know, just do it. And they were like, I'm not paid enough of this, whatever. They photocopied it. They treated me really kindly just in case I am a lord.
Yeah.
And then within 24 hours, it was on my bank account. I had a new card coming, and then they updated my credit file throughout with 3 agencies. So it went on every single thing. And then when I apply for a credit card over the phone, they treat you a lot better. Or if I apply for, say if I buy a flight, they will give you a business class seat.
Yeah, because you've been upgraded before, right, using this lordship. And also to the people watching this, I've actually recently just ordered my lordship title. We were going to try do it today after this, but tomorrow I'm going to go in, and you guys, if you would like to see this, you can watch to the end. I'm going to do what Miles did, Lord Miles.
Yes.
And I'm going to try and legally become a lord. I think using the same tactic.
I think it'll work, hopefully. If not, I'll just go to a separate bank and give it a go.
Yeah,
it's always worth a shot. Yeah.
So if you want to see that, they can watch to the end of it. But anyway, so yeah, the lordship benefits. So you been upgraded at hotels and business. Let's talk a bit about.
Because at first, I just thought it was hilarious just having on my car and showing my friends. And then afterwards, I once booked a flight to Italy, like under £30 at the time. So I was thinking, you know, just like a small little holiday. Yeah. And then when I got on, they were like, "Oh, hello, Lord Miles. Here's this food. Here's blah blah blah." I was like, "How do you know my name?" And I realised, because I did the booking, you know, the front desk when I arrived to get a good deal. And then they go, we've got a spare business seat. Do you want to like sit there, you know, economy, you know? And they kind of treated me like I deserved more, like I was humbling myself.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, sure, yeah,
like
yeah.
Some humble lord trust.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, yeah, I guess I should upgrade to business. Like I always get business anyway.
Yeah.
Right, totally.
Why not? Yeah.
Yeah, I felt so out of place. I had the imposter syndrome. It was great. And then afterwards, I got a hotel at one point for work. Yeah. And then when I came in, they all stood up. All the staff stood up at once, and they like welcomed me. So I was shaking my hand, and I was like, "Hey, maybe he's really friendly, you know." Yeah. And then they go, "Lord Miles," and I'm like, "Oh, this is a thing now." Lovely. I was telling my friends; they all thought it was hilarious. I've done this so many times now, and they gave me the best room. They were like, we'll pay for a suite. It's on us. It's on us. Do not worry, Lord Miles. And I'm like, this suit really works. So it's like the certificate's paid for itself. We were just meant to be like a general ship host.
£12, and you've probably got like, I mean, I don't know how many more of these occasions.
A few, so maybe hundreds of pounds worth. Yeah.
I actually think you're a bit of a genius. I'm going to try this, and I hope that maybe I can.
Thank you.
think, and if you got upgraded business class on flights, that's like
Yeah, it's just worth it.
easily
It's
found.
just extra comfort, extra food. Like when I was on the flight to Kabul,
yeah.
there were 2 separate flights. So I basically managed to get 4 free meals. Because when they gave me the food, they were like, oh, you know, how was the food? And I was like, oh, it was great, thank you. Can I purchase an extra meal? Because it was really good.
Yeah.
Weirdly, I like airline food. And then they go, yeah, sure. They brought over the card machine. I presented my card. And I looked at it for like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
You know, just staring at it. And they go, don't worry about it.
This is the moment we've been training for.
Exactly. And then I tried on the next flight, and they kept giving me more and more. So free food. So if anything, I profited off Afghanistan. Yeah.
Good. That's crazy, man. Like, I wonder how far you could come, like, with this Lord title, especially once you have it on the credit card.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder how much you could get away with.
Yeah. Like whenever I call up, say customer services of American Express or something,
Yeah.
I don't have any cards to charge me a fee, so this is all free on my end. I call up and they're like, oh, hello, Mr. Lord Miles, and they just go insane.
Yeah.
They treat you with respect. It's almost like if I walk around the streets of my town wearing this stuff, this get-up, you know, people just look at you like a dirty student. If I walk with a suit and, you know, have my title out, they treat you with respect. It's like if anyone at home has seen this film, Catch Me If You Can, it's a film where basically this guy just fakes his entire persona of life and job.
I love
And
Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing. I honestly think it's the same thing, and I saw that movie, and I saw it as an instructional video almost. I was looking into the stuff he did, and sadly it's outdated, but there's modern day equivalents which I'm putting off a little bit.
Yeah, dude, like, this is something which I found funny as well, because it works. Like, I also watched Catch Me If You Can.
Yes.
This is where I relate to you and your love for these kind of like slightly sneaking things.
Yeah.
Like I still do, but I used to love sneaking in. So like on my year out, I like managed to, I put in a high vis, and I got like from a dollar store a 99p like barcode badge, and just put it on just with this, just with some shitty high vis and 99p badge, which literally said 99p in it. And I got backstage at I think it was the Rugby World Cup final in Australia.
Oh, amazing.
It was like the sevens. I managed to get backstage, and like I looked around the locker rooms and everything, and like I made a video. But I've also like even sneaking into concerts and stuff, I pretended to like, if you fit into the crowd you're in, like I pretended to be a rapper, the Kid Leroy, and I managed to get backstage of this like American band called the Ex-Ambassadors. But I think you're right.
Yeah,
like
it's just the confidence that comes with it. As long as you look the part, no one wants to question you, because then they'll look bad if they're wrong. And no one dares to question authority. There's always a hierarchy that people want to fall into, and you've got to exploit that a little bit. As long as you don't cause anyone a financial loss, I think, you know, big airline companies and you know, hotels I don't care about. But if it's a small mom and pop operation, you know, pretend to be a mister then.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's fascinating, man.
But the goal is one day I want to have a lordship or a title. Like you can, I think there's a title in the UK you could be awarded called the Great Defender of the British Empire or something. And the Queen can award that. And I've looked at the conditions, and I really do want to work towards
I'm
it.
going to get on this later, because I've researched and I know something which you've done related to this, which is fascinating. I want to talk about.
Absolutely.
But first, let's talk about how let's finish off the Afghan story and this crazy experience. So, okay, I think we were at where you were the third day, and it was starting to get real, and you thought that the Taliban, if they were going to see you at this point, they might kill you.
Yeah.
And then, how did it escalate? Did you get like found by like some British Secret Service and they pulled you out, or?
I wish. No, it was a little bit more complex. So what happened was, when we had this announcement happen, we were quite far from my safe house. It was like a compound I was in.
So you had to go. So when you first arrived, you were in a safe house.
So with my tour guide. So there's this kind of secret area where they provide. It's like a secret hotel for tourists, because there's loads of bombings that happen in the actual touristy hotels. So you want to go to this safe house, and they included in the price. And it was a good price anyway.
I think Thomas might have gone to a similar one actually.
Yeah, exactly.
A few months before.
You know, it has great sliding doors and barbed wire everywhere and checkpoints.
Yeah.
And it's still achievable what it is, because it's in Afghanistan. So when I went there, and then when this announcement happened, I realised I need to get my passport, I need to get all my stuff, I need to get out.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know, this is when it ends, unfortunately. So I was quite far out of Kabul, and like I said, the traffic is horrific. So we had to abandon the car just because there was no one moving. And then we got into a second car with my tour guide's brothers. And we heard the Taliban was nearby, but it wasn't in Kabul yet. That's what we heard.
Yeah.
So as I drove over the hill, to basically work around the traffic. We saw from the hill there was a convoy of Taliban trucks approaching us, and they're all shouting, and some of them start shooting in general. And we didn't know they weren't shooting at us, but we thought they were because we saw kind of sand popping up from the bullets.
So you literally saw them in person?
Yeah, I saw them, and they started like pointing guns and yelling. They were wearing all black and military gear, and they had like mounted machine guns on the trucks. It was a Toyota, of course, for memes. Yeah. It was great. So we basically go, oh no, geez man, and we start legging it. Yeah. We just leg it as fast as we can, and then as we're driving, we realise, in less than 5 minutes they're going to be in the city, and people are going to start panicking. And I thought, they're going to kill me. So we abandoned the car. We started walking, and people who are still in cars pull out AK-47s. So there's no traffic lights or turn signals in Afghanistan. There's only basically beeping your horn, and whoever kind of works their way in will get in. Mm-hmm. But that wasn't working, so people started shooting AK-47s into the sky just so their car can get right away.
The Taliban or the people?
People. Apparently people were a bigger danger than the Taliban at the end, but I'll talk about that. So we started running back to my hotel, but then we see the Taliban convoys getting through the traffic because no one would not let them through.
So were you out in the open then?
Yeah, I was in the open. So I quickly ran into a market and we bought a full body burqa, like the ones that only show the eyes. Yeah. So I was walking around with a burqa pretending to be my tour guide's wife, So I don't know how I pulled crazy. It off. But some of them just looked at me and just didn't bat an eye. They just thought I was a normal person. Wearing a full body burqa.
To be fair, you were in the right country of where the attire.
Not fashion,
the attire.
Yes, I got lucky with that.
Yeah.
And at this point, it wasn't announced that the Taliban weren't harming Westerners, but I don't think they saw me. I think they just presumed I was his wife. So I was walking behind him as we swiftly walked, and we walked about 40 minutes back to the safe house. And we were knocking on the safe house for a good 20 minutes. No one was answering, so we thought it's been abandoned. Yeah. I can't get my passport out. I'm screwed. Yeah. But then they answered, thankfully. The family let us in. I grabbed my stuff. We said goodbye. They were just chilling. They were like, this happens. We get invaded. Something overthrows the government, whatever.
That's insane to me that, to some of these people, and so sad in many ways that this is like a normal...
Yeah, there's no stability in their lives. It sucks. Like poor people, the biggest people affected this whole thing is not the US government, it's not the Taliban, it's just everyday people who just want a stable, personal small job that want to get by and feed their family. That's what it always comes down to, just the everyday family.
Yeah. It's like, first of all, for the sake of this interview, maybe we don't get into the politics of how they withdrew, but I think it was pretty shocking how they kind of did it and they dealt with it, and it's so sad.
It wasn't the best, sadly, but...
to continue with your story, sorry.
Yeah, that's all good. So what happens is I run out of my stuff, and then we go, okay, we need to get to the embassy. Everyone's saying online, get to the embassy, and the embassy is meant to be abandoned for another hour or so. Yeah. So I get there with about 30 minutes to spare. The embassy's been abandoned, and I've been calling the office the entire time. No one's answering. So I noticed a bunch of people. I think they were locals just stealing stuff from the British embassy. They were just stealing like sofas and stuff and loading it up. Yeah. So I was laughing at that, and they go, go to a different embassy. So we go to the, I believe the American one and one other, again abandoned. No one's in the embassies. Fair enough, they ran away a bit early on, which I don't blame them. Yeah. So we go, okay, airport next. And because we were in the city centre, the airport's quite far away. So it's a good hour walk. So it's boiling, I'm wearing a full body burqa. I take off my burqa in the end and just put on a headscarf because I feel like I'm going to faint. Yeah. And we started running, we started casually jogging, and I thoroughly enjoyed it weirdly because I was getting a high from the running, and I felt like I was playing a Metal Gear Solid game. Underneath my headscarf, I was smiling. Yeah. Yeah, and it was working out at the end.
And where, just to clarify, where were you at this point? Did you say
so airport? Between the British embassy and the airport. Because the embassies were abandoned, so I thought straight to the airport, that might work.
So you just legged it?
Yeah, legged it as fast as I can because the city was gridlock, so you couldn't get a car, and the cars we did get would only take us 5 minutes, and then they would abandon it because they thought the Taliban would see us, and the association might cause issues. Yeah. Fair enough. So we get to the airport, and all flights are cancelled, which I understand, but I'm pissed off about it. Yeah. So as we're going there, I'm on my phone trying to book another flight. Yeah. Right. And as I'm doing it, my card gets declined because I'm making a big purchase in Afghanistan. So I call up NatWest, which is a UK bank, And I basically just say, oh, hey, can you unblock my card? And they were like, you're in Afghanistan? I was like, yeah, the Taliban are coming in quick, I need to buy a flight out. And like, they were just really confused.
Did they take you seriously?
At first they were like, let me get my manager. And I was like, no time, just unblock my card, please. I don't sound like someone from Afghanistan, do I? It's really me, it's Miles. Yeah. And they were like, oh, here's your Lord, Miles. I'm like, oh, I don't have time for this.
Now.
I don't have time for this, I'll flex later, okay? Yeah. And then I get cut off because I run out on my SIM card.
Oh my God.
It's even worse. So I'm like, whatever, okay. And then I get to the airport. All flights are cancelled. I'm screwed a little bit. So as I'm walking out, I'm exhausted. I'm burned. I haven't eaten for like a day. I'm dehydrated. My lips are cracking and bleeding just a little bit. Yeah. And as we're walking out, the last place that the Taliban hadn't captured was the airport. And as I was walking out, those 3 Taliban trucks all come towards the airport entrance. So I'm the one walking out. I'm wearing a cross at this point, like a Christian cross. You know, it's a metal one, so it's shining in the sun. Yeah. I'm wearing Western clothes because I changed just because I'm so hot at that point. And they see me and they give me this look of confusion. I'm like, I'm going to die right now, whatever.
The Taliban saw you in person?
Yeah, they just saw me. They just started looking at me. And I was like, they've seen me. I've got nowhere to run. I might as well just die right now. Yeah. So as they're about to get into the airport, I cross them and walk in front of a truck like Tiananmen Square. Like, I'm not paying myself to that hero. I'm just saying that was a setup, you know? Yeah. And then I tap on the car like, oh, thanks for letting me pass, mate. At this point, I'm kind of out of body. So
I can imagine.
Yeah.
You probably, if I was in, and you, under the assumption that you think the Taliban are killing Westerners, which they have.
I thought I was going to die in Afghanistan.
And you see them literally in front of you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just tap the car. The Taliban guy starts laughing, thinking, what is this guy doing? But he lets me pass. And then the people in the back were basically beeping the horn. Like, why can't we pass? What's happening in front? And I just yell, oh, 1 minute. And then as I walk past, the Taliban guy gives me like, he starts swearing, I think, in the language, because I know some words and I think I picked up on one. So I just gave him a thumbs down and carried on walking. But he didn't bother, he didn't bother me.
Okay, so
sassy at the Taliban.
Yeah, no sass was
Walk past them. I was like, oh, if you kill me, I'll just die and not really care because I'll be dead. And if I get injured, it will be temporary. And if I survive, it's a great story. So why not? That's my attitude towards everything. You know, I think if you do stuff with confidence, you can get away with a lot more than you guys realise, because you're obviously overcautious in life, in survival, until you push yourself to some degree. And I didn't have any other option because behind me was the airport, which is about to be captured by the Taliban. To the side of me is like a giant barrier wall for the airport. The other side is the road I want to get to, and in front of me is the Taliban, so there's no other exit. I just have to cross them. And I delayed the invasion and capture of the airport by like 5 seconds, and I think that's hilarious.
Wow.
But yeah, so as we start walking towards the unknown, we just didn't know where we were going to go. We just thought, oh, we might find like an ambassador or maybe a safe house or just something. You know, we can't stay here. Yeah. So as we start walking, I basically get encountered by 2 other Taliban members with guns. They're just walking around with AKs, you know. And my tour guide steps in front of me, and he starts speaking for me. And then the guy's like, no, move aside. We want to speak to this white guy. And they probably think I'm like a spy or like some journalist or something. And I'm not a big fan of journalists. I can imagine how they feel. Yeah. And then they walk up to me like, what's your name? And I was like, oh, Miles. Yeah. And they were like, do you have an ID? I was like, here's a bank card. And they were like,
was this someone with Lord?
Yeah, Lord. It was American Express too. I showed an American Express to these Taliban members. They didn't understand what it meant, but like, I was laughing in my head, but I didn't want to smile, you know. And they were like, Lord, what is that? I'm like, oh, it's like a title I missed it. Because I'm not going to flex on them. I'm not going to risk it. Yeah. And then they go, why are you here? I was like, tourist. And they just started laughing to themselves. They look at each other like, tourist. And they go, very good timing, my friend. And I was like, you were telling me? And then,
so they actually they had a sense of humour.
They had a sense of humour. And then they go, they're about to walk away. One of them taps one another. And then he gets serious and they step towards me. And they go, what country? And they were like, you American? And he's saying in such a tone where I know that's a bad thing. So I basically go, no. And they go, British? And I was like, no, Welsh.
What? No one speaks Welsh.
Well, no, that's not
Gwen,
stupid.
please don't make it more complicated than it already is, okay? Listen, Dino, no one here or where we're going tonight, none of them speak Welsh.
But what about the signs and everything?
I know, you just got to ignore it.
I don't understand.
You know,
What-
seriously, just forget it.
Because I knew they wouldn't know where Wales is. I don't know, where is Wales? I was like, oh, it's next to England, but we don't like England. We don't like England. And they're like, you dislike English? I'm like, yeah.
Fucking hate them.
And they basically just grab my shoulder and go, yeah, and just walk away.
Oh my god!
Yeah, I was
Imagine if you had that little bit of improvisation. It could have
Yeah.
potentially saved your life.
Yeah, exactly. They could have captured me. They could have just gone like, oh, I hate English and punched me. I don't think they would have killed me, I've got to be honest, but it's a possibility. Yeah, I think if you just hate on the British a little bit, you know, some countries like you. But I don't know, it's pretty fun. Just normal stuff. I always find myself in weird situations like that where I can just talk my way out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just pretty interesting time.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's insane. And then, just to kind of round the Afghan story up a little bit, although there's so much to unpack. in
Yeah,
it, but how did so after this point, what happened then?
So after 20 minutes of walking, we come across a safe house. It's like a UN safe house, so there's Turkish people there, and they're guarding the area, and they're not letting any people in.
Yeah.
But I walk up and I wave my British passport, and they're like, no, Turkish only. And I'm thinking, well, no, I see British people right there. I'm like, yeah, this is my opportunity. So I started talking to him, and I joke, I'm like, I'm not Greek. And this Turkish guy just starts laughing. He goes, I get British person for you.
Wow.
So you just joke around and shitpost to these guys, and you know, it kind of disarms them. And then I got let in. They gave me Wi-Fi, which was excellent.
Yeah.
And then I just I start filming. I see some SAS people, and they've seen my story at this point. These special forces people, so they invite me.
They had.
Yeah, they've seen it. It got spread around the military so quickly. So they invite me for a drink. I joined them. In their room.
How was it working, by the way? Because the Taliban were also at the airport, but so was like the SAS.
Yeah, they were kind of like separating it halfway, and
they were like in contact. They were seeing each other, but they're just fine with it.
To some degree, yeah, there was some tensions. They were negotiating. The Taliban were playing ball. They were admitting, you know, the Taliban are playing with us this time. We're not having issues. You know, they just want a peaceful transition because they want the perspective of the media that they're being, you know, peaceful.
Yeah.
So they basically chill with me. They're all drunk a little bit, enjoying their drinks, and they have like an operation to save some journalists. So a while away, they're eating Pringles and stuff, and they've got alcohol in an Islamic country where alcohol is banned, and they kind of just give me body armor and like that rifle we've seen in that famous photo, that gun. Yeah.
Yes.
And they're just joking.
Once you haven't seen this, you can see this on screen now.
Exactly. It's beautiful. So I was just chilling with them. They were telling me how to shoot people and like do certain stuff. And they were saying it's not going to come down to that, but you know, we'll give you body armor, mate. We'll look after you. You're a legend round. But what were you thinking? And you know, they were just proper chill with it. And then you know,
it must have been a relief.
Yeah. And a few days, one and a half days of just hanging out with them, talking about what's going on. We had like a live feed of everything going on in Kabul and Afghanistan in general, with a room full of cameras.
Yeah.
So we had like screens just seeing the fall of Kabul live, and we were just sitting there watching it. Or we saw what was happening in the airport before we went on the media. We saw people falling off. It was terrible. It was really shocking stuff, and you know, it was bad. So then we basically were in a group with them and about 200 other people. There was a ton of Indonesian workers in Afghanistan for some reason. I think with telecommunications and general infrastructure projects. So it was me and 200, 300 other people just chilling. And then we got escorted out into like this grey area between the British area and the Taliban area. So as we walked across, the Taliban were escorting us, and we had to give up our weapons, which is fair enough. And they recognised me. So some of the younger Taliban members.
As in you and the SAS also had to give up their weapons.
Yeah, everyone did. That was they were playing ball, so we thought, why not? And some of the Taliban members that were younger, in their mid-20s, recognised me. And the reason I know is because they basically pointed at me and their eyes widened. And some of them asked.
Must have seen your posts.
Yeah, and then they came up to me, and then they asked to take a photo, and I can't say no, so they take a selfie. So somewhere, it's on there.
God.
And I know one of them.
Somewhere in Afghanistan, 2 Taliban members have got a selfie of you.
Yeah, exactly. It was bizarre too. And there was this one. I think people with military will know this guy, but apparently there's a Afghanistan soldier who's basically been in every single war in Afghanistan. He's like 70 years old. He's crazy. And he holds a whip and he just whips people in the street. He hates Westerners, hates them. No matter what, he'll just attack the car. Like, he runs their cars with knives sometimes. That's the story.
So is he Taliban, or is he?
Yeah, he's Taliban.
Okay.
Yeah, so we saw him in the corner. He rounds up a bunch of people trying to break into the airport, and he's just walking around this circle of 60 people, whipping the ground, and everyone's just laughing at it.
Yeah.
Because even the people in the circle were laughing because they found it funny.
Yeah.
It was such a bizarre scene. People were climbing over the walls and stuff to bring supplies, so they were just climbing over barbed wire, and these were like 10-year-olds just bringing the Taliban members like fast food. And then we get into the British side. We kind of hang out on the road, waiting for a plane to come for a few hours. We're just chilling. We have to move around a little bit. Everyone's making jokes. Everyone's enjoying themselves. We kind of tell stories. It feels like you go camping in the Scouts,
Yeah.
And then eventually we fly out, and then we chill. We go back to Dubai. We land in the UK.
In a military plane, I guess.
Military plane, yes. Full capacity too, which is very unheard of.
Yeah.
But there was enough planes for everyone to get out, so everyone who was at the airport got out of Afghanistan. Basically, it was the people that were stuck in remote areas like Sharif and certain areas of Kandahar. And stuff.
Okay, so with the terrible scenes, obviously, when there was people falling out of the airplanes and stuff, this was before you had taken off, right? Because you said
Yeah, of course, yes.
So it was the people who were like the British nationals and other nationalities that this managed to get out, but some other people.
Yeah, as long as you were at the airport in this line, you got out no matter what. And the Taliban were helping people get out, which was bizarre to think about, but fair enough.
Yeah.
But if you were further out in these areas, because the Taliban isn't really centralised, it's more kind of a do whatever, just follow our philosophy type of thing.
Yeah.
So a lot of people were scared to even go out because they thought they wouldn't be treated well and they wouldn't be able to get out. So there's a lot of people that were allies of the West and a lot of people who were just general Westerners who have lost their passport and they're stuck, in remote areas of Afghanistan because they were doing charity work or tourism or infrastructure. Like when I was in this one area, when I was in Kandahar, which is kind of south of Kabul, I came across this one Polish girl. She was like 25 years old. She was wearing Doc Martens, and she was apparently traveling around the Middle East with.
Yeah.
Oh, it's good.
The wrong way.
Good stuff.
That was a terrible kick.
You made a friend now.
Yeah.
Oh.
She's so very cute. Do we cut now, or do we?
I think we should include this footage. This is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a nice ending to the I'm actually I can't really throw properly.
Yeah.
Never had dogs this friendly to me.
Oh, that was terrible. Sorry. I still got better aim than the Taliban at least.
Yeah. You are. It's fun. I find it fascinating how you manage to get out of so many situations through your humour.
Yeah,
it's
it's
a very good sense of humour.
I think if you just kind of treat people like a friend almost, they want to help you out.
Yeah. She wants to treat like a friend. Maybe. Do we okay, we ignore.
Yeah.
So this is probably quite a good ending to this segment. This is like.
I fear this dog more than I do in any situation I've been in.
Yeah. You've been in some of the most dangerous places in the world. Is this more dangerous?
I would say so, yeah, really. So as I was on this military plane, being taken to Dubai and back to the UK, and I'm thinking about things, and I realised back in my safe house, I clogged the toilet because I ate those 4 meals on the plane that were free. And they're all kebabs, so it kind of destroyed my insides a little bit. Yeah. And I couldn't flush the toilet. So I was thinking, I'll unclog it later, this is a bit of an issue, but whatever, it's Afghanistan. So I realise now, I left a little present for the Taliban. It's probably still there. And, that's the funny thing.
Wow.
So, yes, because the Taliban would have taken over that safe house, we heard, because, it's a good little compound. So they will walk in, and some Taliban member will have to clean this up, and I find comfort in that idea.
That is, the rude Taliban. I mean, it's the Taliban, so they definitely deserve that, at least.
And because on the plane we could only take a certain amount of stuff with us, we basically had to only carry one backpack, and I had a suitcase full of stuff. Yeah. So what I did, I basically gave up most of my stuff, most of my clothes, And I have one nice pair of like street clothes like I'm wearing now. This is what I wear most days because I'm a minimalist. I've got like 4 of the same jumpers or whatever. Yeah, I try and keep it simple. I'm just cheap, and that's a nice label to put it as.
No, you're not. You're clever with your how you do it. I mean, you just save yourself money and then you spend it on more worthwhile adventures.
Thank you. Yeah, but this one jacket I had, I really liked it, but I had to give it up and basically leave it behind. So some Taliban member right now has a mad amount of drip. Because they overtook the the Western compound.
Oh, they're gonna see on some Instagram page like Facebook.
Yeah, like
some video like the, hang on, that's my jacket.
I guarantee though, it is nice jackets from Urban Outfitters. You know, it's gonna last me like 5 years.
Yeah.
They've got it on right now. I guarantee it. There used to be a quote where you can actually find a Taliban member by their shoes if they wear white Air Forces. That was like a symbol of the Taliban.
Oh right, because they all wear them?
Yeah, they see it as like, they saw it as cool, and the Taliban would pay people and trainers just because they didn't have Western cash.
I'm undercover. No,
it's cool. Well, I've
come back.
I've had
you left that in the toilet. I can't joke about this. I'm gonna get like, I don't want to be insensitive. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Yeah. That's what you're saying.
So basically someone's got some drip in Afghanistan and all the soldiers were laughing at it. A lot of people online were kind of like, oh, how dare you not take the situation super seriously all the time. But all the soldiers, all the Taliban, all the people that were being evacuated, they were joking and laughing all the time. Like everyone was just treating it like a massive joke. It was great.
It's interesting to me because on the news, obviously you see one side of it and it looks so like, this doesn't take away the situation because I think it is terrible from what I know about it. Yeah. But like, it looks so horrifying. But actually, people found humour and like they found some positives within it. Yeah, exactly. It seems, or like people see. You said like people smiling and laughing.
Oh yeah, exactly. Like people just kind of playing pranks on each other as the country collapsed. It was bizarre, but it was welcoming. You know, because when you think of war, you think of when you used to watch history channels and like Saving Private Ryan, and there are parts like that. But what I found is people just joke all the time because it's the best way to deal with things. And to be honest, there are some funny situations going on. Like people were just sharing videos that they found. People were just joking about the Taliban. I'm guessing the Taliban were just joking about my accent or something. Yeah. Everyone was just...
Oh, even the Taliban were joking with you?
I guarantee, they were just joking with each other. I heard them laughing as we were walking past them a few times. So I really just think it's just lads being lads, basically.
Yeah.
Because if you just put a bunch of 20-year-old lads
all in one.
into a situation like this, it's going to happen no matter what.
It makes me feel like my interest. First of all, in a weird way, it gives me like a greater sense of hope for humanity. Yeah. That whilst all these terrible things happening, whilst it happens, people are still like have a sense of humour about it and can still joke. And also, I find it fascinating that the Taliban, like, although like I don't agree with them with what they're doing either. I think they're terrible. Absolutely. In my opinion, from what I know. But like they still seem like people in a weird way because they are like they laugh and joke, and they actually like joked around with you despite what they do still. Yeah,
exactly. I think they just around for the ride basically, and there were some serious people at the top just orchestrating the entire thing. It was bizarre what happens. Like straight after the Taliban basically captured the entire country, the West was out. They were playing on bumper cars. Everyone saw those famous photos of the Taliban just driving around and playing.
And in the gyms and stuff
like this.
Yeah,
they were going to the gyms, and some of them were just... I saw this one video where someone got an apple and put it on their heads, and the Taliban would try and shoot it off someone's head, and they were just laughing. Like, it was just people at a bar playing with darts or something in Britain. So it was
Except a bit more higher level.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if anyone's ever spoken to a soldier who's been in the actual industry for 2 or 3 years, they're proper funny and they proper have a good sense of humour about it, and they're just proper lads at the end of the day, and that's what it comes down to. There's always some serious people, which is fine. It's called for. It should be serious to some degree, but just know the fall of Kabul was basically a giant shitpost to some extent. Yeah,
it's fascinating, and that story is an experience which you're probably one of the few people in the world who's ever going to witness anything close to that, and it is an amazing story to tell. It's quite terrifying and like an amazing experience in the same way. So I think that's quite a crazy story.
And also I can say I'm the last ever tourist to Afghanistan with the old regime.
Exactly.
So I've got that stamped to my passport forever, and which was, I think I did good work
You're
there.
the last ever tourist.
Last ever tourist.
Wow.
Last ever tourist visa issued.
That's one way to end this segment. But what we'll be chatting about next after this next... Okay,
Yes.
wait, hold on. But what we'll be chatting about next, I think you may be making a return.
I think I honestly will. And I think the internet will be very excited to hear what I'm about to do. It'll be next level, let's say.
Yeah, so you may not be the last ever tourist, you may be coming back in.
Yes, exactly.
But before we get into this segment, first, I want to chat about your most recent adventure
Yes.
and also the adventure you're planning on next. But first, we will talk about your most recent adventure, which you went to after Afghanistan, which was
South Sudan.
South Sudan.
Yes, the newest country of the world, formed in 2011 after a brutal civil war with normal Sudan or North Sudan.
Yeah.
So,
Wait, sorry to interrupt. Just quickly, should we take a break? Do you want to take a break on the bench first, or find a new location before we do Sudan? I know where we are now. Okay. So, South Sudan, man.
yeah, lovely place. It was
Yeah,
safer
really?
than London. Not really, no. It wasn't honestly my best experience, but at the same time it was insightful. I did enjoy lots of aspects of it. So on the 12th of December, I landed in Juba, but before that happened, I got to the airport at least 4 hours early, so that's a good amount of time. But I got interrogated by anti-terrorism police.
Yeah. So we're gonna tell like everybody about this, because I'm also fascinated, and we spoke a little bit more about this.
Yes.
But now, because of after this Afghanistan ordeal,
Yes.
tell us about what happens when you went to Sudan, and what
Yes.
happens, because you're actually leaving to another place which we'll talk about later
Yes.
tomorrow, and you're leaving to the airport 10 hours early because of
Yeah,
what happened.
I will be interrogated. I may miss my flight. So you know that Afghanistan should have raised, red flags, anyway. So I should have been questioned. I should have maybe been stopped. That's what I expected, because it does seem a little bit dodgy. Because there's always stories about people joining ISIS or whatever. And then when I got to the airport for South Sudan, it's a dangerous country, but it's not a terrorist hotspot, if you know what I mean. When I got there, they pulled me aside. They've been watching me on the cameras in the airport for 30 minutes because I don't know how they would have found me otherwise.
And this was when you arrived in Sudan or before?
Before, it was in Stansted Airport, so if anyone in the UK knows it, it's a terrible airport.
They've got one airport lounge, and I always sneak into it.
Now, as always, this wouldn't be a Vonzi video if I didn't try to sneak in an airport.
It's always shit, and their breakfasts are shit.
I'm doing that tonight still.
Oh, yeah,
I will give it a
honestly,
go.
it's the easiest lounge to sneak into.
Yeah, just walk in with confidence.
Yeah, it's not like the first class ones are a little bit harder.
Yes.
These ones are easy.
Exactly. Good
Anyway,
stuff.
sorry, as you were saying with the...
Yeah, of course. So when I got there, they basically go, "Oh, excuse me, are you Mr. Miles Routledge?" And I was like, "Lord Miles," and they were like, "Yeah, whatever, get in." And I was like, "Okay, well, I expected this, but it's kind of hitting home now." They bring me into a small room. It's kind of what the police would do. There's no windows. You've got a fixed chair. It's enclosed. It's bright lights. They want to cause stress, and they started questioning me. They're like, "Are you joining ISIS? Are you part of this extremist group?" And they like, "Can you scan your fingers? We want to get your fingerprints. We want to take a mugshot. Unlock your phone for me. We want to download all your data off your phone." And apparently it's mandatory. You have to do it, otherwise you get arrested.
That sounds illegal to me.
Yeah, the Anti-Terrorism Act of the UK, it's completely cooked. So you have no privacy, basically. I don't agree with it.
Sorry. I just saw Henry's face go deep scare, because someone just teed off. Are we going? Okay. Wait. Sorry, man.
That's cool.
Sorry.
That's good. That's good.
Maybe we don't. Maybe we like go across this way and cut across.
Yeah, that might be easier.
Wrong. Okay. Yeah.
Good stuff.
Sorry, viewers. So they took you to the cell and they interrogate you.
Yeah, they're like, "You're not arrested, but basically you can't get on the flight without doing this whole thing. And if you walk away, we might escalate it." I'm like, "Oh, okay, well."
Sorry. I just see you saying that. So like, oh. Yeah. So
So
they
I'm having
try.
flashbacks.
Yeah. So they interrogated you on.
Yeah, they take all my data, they check all my bags, and inside my bag for South Sudan, so South Sudan was mainly a charity trip, so I basically brought some Bibles with me of a native language, and I brought a ton of like literature and food and supplies for these people, and they were going through my stuff, and they were like, "Oh, why are you going there?" I was like, "I'm just helping people out," and they're like, "But you got a tourism visa." I'm like, "Yeah, what about it?" And they're like, "So what are you doing there?" I'm like, "Tourism." And we're like, "Tourism in South Sudan?" I was like, "Yeah." And I started joking if it was safer than Birmingham, and they started laughing once again.
Yeah.
And then they slowly kind of went into it. And I was kind of gaslighting these special agents. So they were checking my bag and they were missing compartments. And I was like, if I was a terrorist, you guys would just fail your job. So I was like, oh, you didn't check there? There could be something important in there.
Yeah.
You know, and they were like, oh, okay. And there's nothing inside. Or it's just, you know, normal, everyday stuff. And then,
these guys need to improve their
legit.
skills.
That's what my tax is going. If I pay my taxes, I don't pay tax. I avoid them.
Maybe they could, this is another thing. Do you? Oh, well, maybe we can't talk about this on camera.
No, it's legal. It's fine.
Okay.
I just like screw up the government a little bit. But
You
then
might have to tell me off camera how you do that, because I didn't know you could do it like
just through,
unless
just
you're
through,
earning millions. Maybe you are. I don't know.
Maybe.
But
Sponsored by the Taliban and raised legends.
yeah.
Joking. But yeah, so they interrogate me. I notice on the clock my flight is already left, so I'm screwed over a little bit. And then as I get out, they're like, they kind of feeling sorry for me because I missed my flight, and they're like, oh, complain to this number, whatever. And they ask the front desk if they can rearrange my flights and get me like a free flight. And the front desk is like, what's the reason? Oh, we suspected he was a terrorist, you know, but we detained him, but he's like totally innocent. And I was just there walking around with two, you know, special agents around the airport, people just staring at me. I'm just with a big 40-litre hiking backpack on, like just smiling. Sorry, 75-litre was huge, you know. I looked like I was going on Duke of Edinburgh. It was great. But I was like, you know, chilling. I basically just did a cashback on my card, chargeback on my card, got the money back, and then just booked another flight for the same day because I wasn't going to miss the flight to South Sudan. I got there, and when I arrived, I basically saw giraffes from the window as I was flying down, and there were people herding sheep right next to the actual airstrip that we were landing on.
Wow.
And there was UN planes everywhere, and the UN planes were like straight from the 60s. They were shockingly bad.
Because Sudan is also a country which is in quite a lot of poverty and quite
Yeah,
dangerous.
it's literally 60% of the country is you know, underneath the poverty line, malnourished. It's messed, you know.
And you came to help do charity and to
yeah, because at the end of the day, I hear about these countries that are forbidden, you know, in the everyday mind of people. And I go, it can't be as bad as I think it is. I want to go there, I want to see what it's really about, I want to tell the world, and I want to help out a little bit. You know, I just want to see what it's like.
Yeah.
So when I get there, you know, I talk to some people, and I've got like a bit of cash on me that I raised. And I just start handing it out to people who need it, you know, discreetly. Like my taxi driver, he's like really skinny, you know, he looks malnourished, he's struggling, you know. He's got like a really old car. And I go, oh, how much is the taxi to this area? He's like, oh, it'll be equivalent of 50p, right?
Yeah.
And I go, oh, here's $20. And he stops for like 5 seconds. And he starts shaking my hand for like a solid 10 minutes. Like it feels like that, yeah. He's just saying, thank you so much. Oh, it's such appreciated. I can feed my family. And I just feel great, you know. I was like, good stuff. There's a monthly salary there. It's like $30 a month.
Yeah.
Like the top doctor in the main or only hospital in South Sudan, like a real hospital, is only $50 a month. Like, so imagine being a top doctor, you earn basically not enough to buy a PlayStation game. Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's nothing. So, you know, I get there, I sign up for a SIM card. It's going quite well, you know, I'm just chilling around. And as I look out the window, you know, it looks a little bit chaotic, but it doesn't look dangerous. No one's staring at me, everyone's waving. People just treat me like I'm a normal person. So I stop the taxi and I go, hey, I just want to walk. I just want to walk, you know. And I start walking, and people are looking at me out of curiosity, and then they go, oh, hey, mate. I'm like, what's up? And just shake the hand. They're like, oh, yeah, where are you trying to get to? I'm like, this place here. Like, oh, yeah, this is the direction, yeah. And they just chill. They don't ask for anything. They don't, you know, they don't ask any personal questions. Yeah, they're just chill about it. They're just glad to see a tourist, because everyone who goes there is not a tourist, I've got to admit.
Yeah.
And if you do go there, you go in an armoured car.
Yeah.
When I met one of the ambassadors on my flight out, and he was basically saying, you know, if I go round, I have to be in an armoured car, I have to have a GPS tracker, I need to have a guard with, you know, AKs on it. I need to basically walk in a tank almost.
And did you have any of that?
Oh no, I was just chilling, you know, I just had my phone out, I had my AirPods in, walking around South Sudan. It was chill. Like, as I was walking around at night too, so there was no street lights, I'm walking around in pure darkness almost. I had some white people come up to me, which I didn't know where they came from, but they looked like soldiers. They looked like soldiers or someone important. Yeah. And they go, what are you doing here? What organisation are you with? I'm like, I'm a tourist. And they look defeated. And what is happening right now?
Yeah.
And they're like, yo, just be careful, mate, just be careful. Get back to your hotel, it's not safe. They're probably following you right now. There's gangs out there, they're following you. Just stay safe. And then they fist bump me and walk away. And then I just carry on walking like normally, listening to it's Sunny on Sunshine or something. You know, I'm just listening to 80s hip hop music through my AirPods, just chilling.
Are you not scared?
Yeah, a little bit, but it's like Birmingham at the end of the day or London.
Yeah.
You know, you just get stabbed and then you die. Like until
Yeah,
then you vibe a little bit.
Was there any moments in Sudan where you felt like threatened or your life in danger?
Yeah. So when I went to this one market,
Any crazy stories? Or,
Oh yeah. So when I went to this one market, I started taking photos. So I was asking the people marketing, can I take a photo? Because it's illegal to film in South Sudan, but I did it anyway because it's a stupid rule.
Yeah.
So I asked to take a photo, and the guy's like, he doesn't understand English, but he's like, yeah, sure. And most people speak English in South Sudan, so that was a surprise to me.
Yeah.
So I take a photo, but my flash turns on by accident. Don't know how, big mistake. Because the guy sees me, with a flash, and for some reason he just starts shouting. I don't understand what he's saying, and all the other locals just start staring. And then he goes behind him and grabs like an AK-47, like a really old one, and then starts like walking up to me with a gun, basically just like in his hand like this. And I'm there like, oh, I'm gonna be chased with an AK, so I just start skidding around, and then he starts running after me. And then like after about 5 seconds, he just stops as I turn corners and stuff.
Yeah.
And I realised, wow, I got chased with an AK, lovely stuff.
Wow. Were you not nervous he was going to shoot you, or you just like?
I'll just kind of do a Matrix thing,
Yeah, just whoa.
But at the end of the day,
you are like you're the real life main character. You're like your stories is,
it was just kind of interesting.
This documentary needs to serve for a lot more.
But apart from that, it was like proper safe. I probably just offended him somehow, which I don't understand, but whatever. It was chill. Another thing too, I wanted to go to this tribal area. So I talked to some locals and we basically got a car to go 80 miles up north from the capital of Juba. Yeah. So as we go there, we see this bridge and it's like completely collapsed, the centre, it's gone, you can't drive across it. So then we find a different route and there's a bunch of soldiers there. Yeah. So we can have a car and we go to the tent where the officer is, or the commanding officer, and he's just chilling in a bed, this makeshift tent. And behind him are a bunch of child soldiers. I'm not talking about like 8-year-olds. They looked 15. Yeah. I don't think they were 18. They were holding AKs and they were had berets on. So I was like, whoa, lovely child soldiers, lovely stuff. This is a great place.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I speak to him. He's like, oh, the bridge got bombed. And I think he may be lying. I think it's just maybe collapsed and, they were rebuilding it. But that's what I was told basically by this guy. He was like, the bridge collapsed, there's some terrorists around, you need to pass, you need to buy 2 soldiers off us to escort you up north, and it'll be like $200. And in South Sudan, $200 is like a fortune. Yeah. So I said no because I couldn't afford it, and all the other money that was going towards charity was just for charity, not this rich officer guy who's commander of a small fleet of an army.
Child soldiers.
So I kind of nod my head at the child soldiers and the military guy. I'm just like, yeah, pop it back to the city centre, mate. Yeah. Get back, and it's totally normal. I see people in mud huts all the time. It's weird. So you got the capital. You walk out of the capital 5 minutes. You come across sparse landscapes and mud huts. The country's empty. Yeah. It's heavily polluted and dangerous because there's poisonous snakes apparently, according to the person I met on the plane. But you just come across mud huts in the city centre. Yeah. There's no skyscrapers, there's no good area, basically. Everywhere could be dangerous, I would consider. There's no proper infrastructure. So this is the one thing I was trying to expose and talk about. The actual government, they have billions in oil money because they have oil and that's the main industry. Yeah. But then the average person earns $10 to $50 a month, which is nothing. Yeah. So I was kind of talking about some corruption.
Yeah, because I heard about this from something about you saw some UN corruption or something.
Yeah, that was in Kakuma, but I'll wrap up the South Sudan trip. So what happened was, after doing all the other East African countries, I looped back around. I was thinking, okay, I'm in Uganda, I'm going to cross back into South Sudan, drive 100 miles on a bus, because you can get a bus from Uganda to the capital Juba, and then I'll conclude my trip and fly out. Yeah. But when I applied for another visa, I applied on a Sunday, and the entire visa office was closed on Sundays. And if anyone knows anything about Africa in general, or even like South Sudan, things do not get done quickly. You know, you have to wait weeks and weeks to get anything done. Like my visa took 2.5 weeks just to get even looked at. Oh. And then they approved it within 12 hours in the middle of the night on a Sunday when it was closed. So that
so this was into Sudan?
Yeah, this was to get back into Sudan, like because it was single entry.
Single entry. Looped around to some.
Yeah, exactly. I looped around the whole of East Africa. So I went from I went through South Sudan, and then Kenya, then Tanzania, then Uganda. So I was just looping around in a circle, and I thought, go back in South Sudan. I needed a second visa because it was single entry. My first one was. Yes. So when I applied for it and got the visa so quickly, I was bewildered. I was thinking, there's something up here. It doesn't feel right in my heart and in my stomach. Yeah. And then I got an anonymous email saying, hey, I'm this person, don't like talk about me too much, so I'm not giving some details, but do not go back to South Sudan. You criticise the government. We like what you do, so I warn you. Loads of politicians and activists and charity workers and all these other people, they get arrested and sent to our blue room, which is like their torture chamber, basically, because South Sudan has huge human rights violations. And they go, you film without permits and you criticise our president. Big issues, my friend. I'm sorry. Do not come back. We like what you do, but I worry for you if you try and come back. Just don't do it. Yeah. So basically, I'm wanted for arrest in South Sudan, and they were trying to honeypot me to get in again.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Please don't go back.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to go back again. It was only like one of those countries you visit once, if that makes sense. Yeah.
And because you did a tour of these other Eastern African countries as well, was there any moments which stuck out on that, or was there anything which you saw as well which surprised you during your travels in these recent countries?
Yeah, so UN corruption. So I'm not a fan of the UN in general, but this is what I saw. So there's this camp in northern Kenya that's on the South Sudanese border, because the two countries border one another. Yeah. It's called Kakuma, and there's several camps. I went to Camp 1. It's basically a vast expanse of desert where people from South Sudan and Somalia ran to this area, right? Yeah. And they start a new life, and the UN's kind of been giving them stuff, and it's all happy and dairy charity, or so you think. So when I Google it, the UN talks about how much good work they're doing there and how important what they do is. And when I get there, there's shacks, there's like no infrastructure, no one has electricity. You don't go out at night because gangs roam it and like mug people. Yeah. I was helping someone else, so I brought some kid, like an 18-year-old kid, a laptop, so he can actually do some work. He was promised glasses, like prescription glasses, about 4 years ago. He's meant to get it in like 3 weeks, but he never got them. So he keeps going to the office, and they would only give him glasses if he pays a bribe. They're meant to give these people...
The UN?
Yeah. And because you get a lot of people from like India and stuff that work for the UN, and there's loads of corruption. So they're meant to give people like heavily discounted or free tents to live in temporarily, and then free housing. The UN is charging rent for this land, and then selling on the tents to people. And same with electricity. So they were meant to give everyone electricity, but they literally gave one shop owner, the access to electricity, I don't know, solar panels, a generator, whatever. Yeah. And then everyone else has to pay this guy just to charge the phone. So you don't go to your house and plug it in a wall. You walk to a shop and then hand in your phone, which is like a bank, and then they charge your phone overnight. Yeah. Now it's cheap, but at the same time, everyone should have some sort of access to electricity. Yeah. So as soon as I heard about this, I gave the guy my solar panel. And he was over the moon, because then he could actually like charge his phone, which is bizarre. And I gave him a laptop so he can actually like go into coding. And this guy, he spoke fluent English. He was like a genius for an 18-year-old, but he didn't have access to anything. Like they lived in terrible conditions. They were basically, everyone there hated the UN. Yeah. They were saying, we have no jobs here. We can't go back into South Sudan because we'll get killed. But to get out of South Sudan and this camp, we need a passport. But we can only get a passport from South Sudan. So either we go back into the country that's trying to kill us, or we stay here for the rest of our lives with no job whatsoever, and basically just slowly starve or struggle. The biggest way to get out of this camp is to play basketball and get a scholarship. Yeah, that's how desperate it is. So people just play basketball all day.
It's insane. It makes me like realise how privileged everyone is here.
Yeah, how it's mad. Like even this coffee now, this will be luxury, mate. Like I went there,
and how I I even feel like I complain than other people, and it's hard because people can't compare. But it's like, how can anyone complain about the situation here where people were in such tougher?
Exactly. Like when I went there, I was hanging out with a guy all day, and we've been speaking on social media for ages. And I thought, I'm gonna buy him some like drinks or some Coke and everything, And I bought all this stuff and plus some food. It was like Christmas for them. They were really happy. They were over moon at me just buying some, fizzy drinks for them. So that kind of puts in perspective how little they earn. Like maybe they earn $30 a month, max, and that's between several kids. Their mother, who's a single mother who's struggling. She dropped out of university. So she almost had a degree in economical mathematics.
One of the family members.
Yeah. So she's going through like investment banking concepts. Like she knows how to do DCF modelling by hand and all this other stuff. And she's living in like a refugee camp made out of literal like sticks and mud. But by the way, they didn't get given a house. The kid at 14 years old built his own house in the refugee camp out of mud.
So from what I can, first of all, I mean, sadly and from what you can see and from what you've seen, South Sudan, well, the country is in a very bad state anyway, but also that the UN should be doing a lot more.
A lot more, yeah. I mean, when I went there...
That's pretty shocking to see that.
Yeah, when I went there and handed out a solar panel and like a laptop and all this other stuff to these people, I'm not blowing my own trumpet, I just want to put it in perspective. Yeah. People, locals were like shaking my hand and thanking me, and some of them looked like, they were over the moon, because apparently I've done more for them than the UN has done like all year round. Like I gave them rosaries, I gave them food, I gave them everything they needed. They were over the moon, and these people are friendly. They're really kind. They want to hang out. There's a huge drug issue too, and I think if you were the UN, you would at least try and talk this through. I don't understand. They receive billions, and they probably contribute millions towards this one small area, and there's thousands of people living here, like a good maybe 50,000 people. But at the same time, I'm seeing nothing. I don't see infrastructure. I'm going to go back there next year with a bunch of solar panels and actually just give electricity. And that'll cost me like $2,000, which is like still a lot of money, but compared to what the UN gets from my taxes, it's nothing. And I can just change these people's lives. It's just a bunch of corruption where, these people can't complain about it because no one's going to hear their voice. And at the end of the day, it's just people from a pipeline just wanting extra cash, and then it trickles down to nothing on these people. They get nothing.
So sad. And it was on a more lighter note, I believe it was in South Sudan, or maybe it was in one of these other Eastern African countries. I saw that you met this group of production.
Oh yeah.
And I saw there's a very funny video on your Twitter where you had some fun with them. But like, how was that in South Sudan?
That was in Uganda.
And how was that? Because they were like filmmakers themselves.
They were amazing.
Creating their own little videos, which are. And you said the producer was one of the most passionate people you've ever met.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
One loud once, they both. Yeah. Okay. Go for it.
Or just shout really loud, like.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll find it. Okay, so I mean, reflecting back on all these trips through these East African countries, through South Sudan, through Uganda, through Kenya.
Yes.
What was something, I mean, first, okay, so reflecting back on all these trips that you had throughout these East African countries, Uganda, Kenya, South Sudan, was there anything which surprised you from what you saw? Anything which you think most people who would never see these countries would be surprised by?
Yeah, so these people are happy. A lot of them are very happy. You always see people in the West kind of like downing antidepressant medication, and then going through relationships and friends and everything like that, and they're miserable. They've got all the materialistic things of the world, and infinite entertainment and leisure. But these people, they've got nothing, they're still happy because they've got community and they've got friends, and they actually are genuinely good people that just want to get by. Which is, I always knew it, but when you see it, it's surprising.
Yeah.
Because if I lived in certain conditions, like I was homeless, I was miserable. But these people have better conditions, worse conditions than I had when I was homeless, and they're just vibing, they're just chilling.
Yeah.
Another thing that was interesting too, there was just a random island off the coast of Tanzania that none of the locals just really cared about. It was just an island that was uninhabited. So I had the impulse idea just to print off a British flag in black and white on a piece of A4 paper, tape it to a stick, and then get a boat to this island and then explore it and just plant the flag for the British Empire.
So you have colonised a new island for the British Empire?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think the Queen would DM me any day now. But yeah, it was
you should be officially knighted now. You won't have to go the Lord title anymore.
Oh, I wish, yes. Maybe one day. Maybe after my big trip.
Yeah.
But
wow. Yeah. How do we?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's cool. We'll just walk across it and then we'll yeah.
Wow. So you're a colonizer as well.
Yeah. Yeah. All the Twitter leftists were really pissed off about it. They were saying, "Oh, colonization's not a joke." I'm like, I don't care.
The thing is what people don't realise, and these trolls online and people who jump in on the internet, and it's something I've realised is, first of all, there's a lot of smart and nice people on the internet. There's also a lot of idiots or people who don't think before they comment. Because speaking to you and researching you and why you're doing this and cause, it's clear your intentions for this are right. Like you're actually it's actually quite inspiring in a way, because you're doing this and going to these places so many people are afraid to, but you're doing it for the good reasons and to help.
Yeah, I've had people DM me going, "You're a Fed or a terrorist, or you're undercover, or you're part of Syria or Lebanon or Russia. You're just, they just presume the worst things, the most extreme things. It's bizarre. Yeah. Like every time I say I'm going to do something, a few people just poo on it and say, that's not going to happen. You're BSing, you're scamming. And then when I do it, they just don't apologise. They just move on to something else and then criticise me. And I'm like, I just proved myself to you. And like 99% of my comments are overwhelmingly positive, with 1% just kind of blow my mind a little bit.
And that's and the problem with social media is those are the ones you remember.
Yeah, exactly.
Or sometimes. I hope not.
Like one person was commenting saying, "Oh, you raised this £2,500, but have you filmed yourself giving away all the money? If not, I think you're just going there for a free holiday and not doing anything." I'm like, yeah, here's this post where I'm giving away a £600 laptop, and here's a video of me giving it away, and here's the person quote tweeting saying thank you for this, and then here's like the videos of all this other stuff. And they were like, yeah, but how much does that add up to? And I gave like the number. Yeah. And they go, "Oh, you haven't spent it all then?" I'm like, yeah, I'm still in the middle of the trip. And they keep going on. I had this one journalist message me, and I say journalist because he's not really a journalist, if you guys know him. He basically messaged me going, "You know what, I don't want to interview you about South Sudan. I've been there myself. I want to interview you about all the harm you're doing to these countries." And I'm there like, what? And then he goes, "Yeah, give me a cost breakdown right now in the next 24 hours. Otherwise, I think you're hiding something, and I will report on it."
Is this guy is he actually a popular journalist?
No, he's like, he tried to get in, he couldn't. He's just working as a freelancer. Oh, okay. He's one of those. He just seems really angry.
Yeah, some people are weird. Like honestly, I wouldn't even honestly, I wouldn't bother. Yeah. Like I wouldn't take your time and put your energy, especially when you know you're doing this for the right reasons. You know you're not lying or you're not doing these things they accuse. I wouldn't spend your time on these people on the internet who are stupid.
Yeah, I just don't want to be thinking.
They're always going to be here.
I just worry that he would publish an article with saying Miles is stealing the money, and then suddenly everyone's outraged, and then obviously I try and quill it down, and then 50% of people won't follow me, and they don't realise that actually I did the work. So as soon as he basically blackmails me to release insider information that hasn't been made public yet, because it's all for the documentary, I'm not going to reveal my plans. Yeah, no, of course. And then I've proven everything, like I've filmed everything, and I've provided proof on social media as I go, and then I've basically said, it wouldn't make sense for me to steal 2,500, because why would I want to go to South Sudan for 1 month, in East Africa for 1 month, risking everything, and then filming it all and being in the spotlight, and then not providing proof, and then risking 10 years in jail for what I can earn in 1 month anyway from a normal job. Yeah. It just doesn't make sense. I understand if I was playing with hundreds of thousands, but 2,500. Yeah. No.
I wouldn't waste your time with them. You can. There's always going to be idiots or people who try just like picking fights,
Yeah, of course. What I did, I basically just screenshotted all the emails, posted on Twitter, tagged him saying, "You're blackmailing me, guys. This is what's happening." Yeah. And then everyone obviously turned against him. Yeah. And then he started going in the comments and screenshotting them and going, "This is harassment of journalism in general. My profession should not be joked about." And people were just memeing on him. Yeah. And I even put in the comments, "I never harassed this guy, blah blah blah." And like he just got really upset. He was playing the victim, and nothing ever came of it, of course. But it's bizarre that these people actually exist, and they think they have the authority just to DM someone. They have this, power obsession almost.
People do, and these people aren't always like that in real life. And I think it's just don't give them air. Yeah. But also, I guess moving on now to your next big adventure. I'm quite conscious of do we have enough time to talk about Kazakhstan and then the big plan? No, we don't have to rush through it.
No, it's okay.
We can. 43. I think that's fine. Yeah. So we can spend 20 minutes on Kazakhstan maybe.
Yeah, of course.
And then if we need and so I guess up next,
yes,
you've got this Kazakhstan trip, which I'm fascinated to know a bit more about. And obviously, there's some bits which are sensitive because for those of you who are watching this, Miles, you've probably been in Kazakhstan and probably been back by now.
Yes.
But this is when he's about to leave. He's about to leave tomorrow. And Kazakhstan is an extreme kind of country right now with its
human rights violations
on the brink of war with Russia. And it seems like you're going in. So please, first of all, why are you going in? How are you going in? And what's the purpose?
Of course, yeah. So as people know, with Kazakhstan right now, oil prices or gas prices went up. And the locals have been sick of their government for a while with how they've been exploited and underpaid and so on. It basically just kicked off. There was tons of protests with people, actually getting guns and weapons and everything, Soviet era stuff, and basically overthrowing the government to some degree. Now, some say it was funded by the West. I think it honestly was, because suddenly all these people were given weapons out of nowhere from unknown white people. And
the Kazakhstani people?
Yeah, because right now Russia wants to invade Ukraine. And then I think the Western governments, whoever orchestrated this handing out of weapons, is trying to distract from that for the Russians. So there's some inner politics going on, but I'm not going to comment on that. What happens is I heard about this whole thing popping off in Kazakhstan, and I was thinking, wow, I've always been interested in this country just a little bit. I've done some research. Everyone knows it from the Borat movies, but obviously it's nothing like that, but everyone jokes about it. And when I was in Africa, when I was in Uganda, I just found out I can't go back into South Sudan. So I thought, what now? I've got some extra days. I'll fly back early, I'll go to Kazakhstan. Now, as I was doing this, I found out everyone is banned from Kazakhstan. You can't enter if you're a Westerner. You can't even enter if you live there, if you're a resident. Journalists, definitely a no-no. And the Russians are looking for Western people because they think they're CIA or spies or something, orchestrating this whole overthrowing of governments. I want to go in to film it because from the few videos that have come out, it's basically showing Russians basically open shooting on peaceful protesters. So children get shot and killed, old people living in the streets and so on. It's dystopian. And at the same time, they're saying, oh, nothing's happening. The whole thing's wrapped up. It's totally peaceful. But the internet in the entire country has been cut off, so no one can message in or out. So I really do think something else is going on right there. And with South Sudan and Afghanistan, with those militant groups, they have terrible aim, they have no training, but the Russians are a different species, they're a different breed. So they take no issues in shooting you if they think you're a journalist or if you're trouble. And they're trained, they're good at what they do. So this will be a whole different beast in terms of a trip. I want to go there with some medical supplies, so like IFAKs.
So are you going first of all to kind of find out what's really going on?
Yeah, I want to basically go in as a journalist, either through proper borders, or if I kind of find my way around and getting in through a neighbouring country. Hint, hint. Lovely guys. So, just over halfway up. Ooh, almost fell.
I'm starting to get hypoxic, dude. It's all the fucking smoking. It's all there. I soaked my fucking feet on the way through that fucking river, and You know, my shit's not waterproof. That's all right, though.
Yeah.
You know, I'm an EMT, just for Miles followers who don't know.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, I took my blood oxygen, and it's like fucking 86 right now. Which, I mean, you know, come on. So, like, I'll be okay. Holy shit.
Andrew's beasting through this, and plus, we've got the Pringles right there. That's our food supply.
I'm good. I just been seeing stars, so. Yo, Miles, get up.
You got some fucking lights down there. I don't know if it's Russians or not, but I don't want to find out. So.
Oh, this is so cold. You good? Oh, it's on its waist. I'm good. Thank you, mate. Thank you. What's that? Let me lean forward. Oh, good. Oh, no Russians, no problem. You good, mate? I want to do this for a living. I love this.
Keep going.
Oh, what's that? Okay, we're good. Up here, straight forward.
Yeah.
Grab onto me if you need.
Keep going there.
Grab onto me if you need. Thanks for the save back there, by the way. These guys, you don't stand at home, the rocks are slippy. I am so grim. Same, I got up to my waist. And I'm going to go in, start filming what I can, and then get out as soon as I can, go back, upload it, and just talk about it. Because I'm on the side of the protesters to some degree. I think, you know, if your government is causing you issues, you should be allowed to protest. I think that's like a good little right that you should have.
Well, and it feels extremely messed up that people's, you know, it's like a cover-up.
Yeah, exactly.
The Russians are covering up what's really happening, but the whole country, all these videos and all these things of the reality can literally not be put on the internet because the internet shut down the country.
Yeah, completely. No one can communicate in or out. So imagine
and journalists literally aren't allowed in, so no one can document.
Exactly. I mean, journalists weren't even allowed in before anyway, to some extent, because it's such a weird government. Most of the government has quit in general, just because the people hate them so much.
Yeah.
So the government have fled. There's nothing that can basically stop anyone from protesting, apart from Russians at this point. So I think there's like a small guerrilla warfare thing going on where people are protesting in pockets. The Russians are just mass shooting them down, and then eventually, in 1 month, the country might open up. So no journalist has been able to go in, not the BBC, not Sky News, no one. But I think I might be able to get in.
Yeah.
So
I'm guessing you probably. This is probably something you can't say on here.
Yes.
How you're going to get in?
Yeah.
That could expose you and put others at risk.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But I'm not sure if we can talk about this, and if we can't, then we'll cut it out. But I know when you said, we were chatting a bit earlier before the interview. I know before you also said that there was someone who's coming with you, right?
Yes, of course. Yeah, he's basically just as retarded as me, I'll put it lightly. He has the same mindset. He's also got the training, so he's basically a field medic, and he's also an ex-Marine in the US Army. So he left just because of medical leave, because he had an injury that meant he couldn't continue. But we want to do this together, and we basically will look after one another. So he says I've got the spirit but not the training, and he wants to help me out a little bit, and we're going to do things together. Yeah. So we're good friends at this point. We'll be messaging all the time. And we're going to meet up together. We're going to help each other out. If you go in somewhere like this by yourself, it's a struggle sometimes, because things play on your mind and only you can reassure yourself. But if you go in with a friend, you look after one another. There's strength in numbers, and I think it'll be good to bounce off with him too. He's as energetic as me. He's got the same mindset, same values. Yeah. I think it's just going to be fun. And at the end of the day, I get to expose corruption, talk about some good stuff, visit a country I've always wanted to go to, and my followers get some insight. The world basically sees what's really going on. Yeah. And I get to do some good stuff. We'll come across people who need help, and then I'll help them. It's simple as.
It's crazy, man. I feel almost a little bit worried because you're crossing into a country where you say possibly the Russians will shoot in you or intruders or journalists, and you're going in, which seems.
Yeah. Well,
you're not like. So I guess we're not going to talk about how you're sneaking or any of this is happening, but you're going to be sneaking into the country and then hopefully documenting what goes on and blending in, which is also, for the viewers, Miles just got his hair cut yesterday, and if
I basically walked into a hairdresser's and asked, give me the most Slavic haircut, and I've got the fade on the side. It was either that or shaving it all off, so 100% they're going to see me and think, oh, he's a local. No. But I don't know, it's just one small thing that might help a little bit. So when we get there, I'm only bringing the stuff on my back right now. So as you guys can see in the video,
this is it.
Yeah, I've got nothing with me. I've basically got my camera equipment, I've got some essentials, got some GPS, equipment for navigation because the internet's down. Yeah, and then when I get there, because it's a cheap country that I'm going to and some of the neighbouring countries I'm going to go to first, I'm going to buy the local equipment and local clothing so I can fit in just a little bit more, you know. Because I don't look like I'm from Kazakhstan. They have different facial features and different skin tones. So maybe, you know, if they see me from the back, that should be fine. But, you know, at the end of the day, I'm never going to be able to fully blend in. But what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to have to be sneaky. So I'm not going to walk into a major population area like I'm one of those Chinese tourists with a flash on my camera and start taking photos of everything. I'm going to travel at certain times. I'm going to go through non-populated areas, and then when we do go to populated areas like towns,
right?
Like towns and cities and so on, we go interview people and we'll help them out. So we basically go, hey mate, what's your situation right now? Do you need anything from us? Like, do you need basic supplies? Do you need anything for medical? Do you need any you know, equipment to carry on whatever you do for a living? Like, how can we help? Because when a country gets isolated so much, there's the whole trade and infrastructure falls apart, and then small businesses suffer. So if we can help out, brilliant. But at the same time, I wouldn't demonise the Russians too much at the end of the day. I think the reason they're doing this is because Kazakhstan is a huge exporter of natural gas, which Russia then sells for the global market, and it's a big supply for them. So I think they went in there as an ally to basically help the government's interest. But I don't agree with it, but I can see where they're coming from to some degree. I like to see both sides, even though I have my opinion. So when I go in, I'm going to try and help as much as I can. But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, and I also. Yeah, man, it's going to be a big trip to Kazakhstan. I hope you are careful, but I know that you are very capable and you're with someone who is.
Thank you.
So
I hope so anyway. Well, either will last a few days and I have to run away, or it's going to last a few weeks because we get in and we feel comfortable, or it'll last a lifetime, if that makes sense. But we'll see how it goes either way. I think we'll get some interesting footage and help out some people. That's all I care about at the end of the day.
Yeah. And let's have a look in the pub now at some of Miles's equipment. If you have to do that, we can
absolutely.
We can check it out, and then we're going to talk to wrap up about the big plan.
Yeah, good stuff, mate. Lovely.
Awesome. Okay. All right, guys. So we're in the pub now, and before we talk about Miles's big plan, the big ending, which is anticipated and which you'll be going on 5 months from now, or
2 months. 2 months. Actually, maybe 1 month. Oh my, it's so close. You guys will be interested to hear about it in a second, but we'll go through some of my items are bringing to Kazakhstan and also my next trip too. So ordinary water bottle, right? However, the bottom, it's got a storage of all my money I'm bringing with me. So this will be for paying for necessities, obviously paying some guards, stuff like that basically. So to get around the country, and basically the planet, dollars rule the world. So this is some hidden money. It doesn't even go off when you go through airports. So I always tell the airport security about it and let them know, but I never get mugged. No one ever mugs the water bottle. And when they check my pockets, I have loose change, so it's always good to pull that off. But luckily never been mugged yet. I'm bringing, about...
where's this from, by the way?
This is from South Sudan, so it's a big ball of money. It's worth about £10. It's nothing. So in South Sudan, hyperinflation is happening, and here you've got the president. So here's a tip, my friend.
Oh, can I?
That's the least I could do, but this is very rare.
Really?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, thanks, man.
No worries.
That's awesome.
So what I'm going to try and do is sell some of this money on eBay to recoup the cost of my trip, but you can't get this in any FX shop or foreign exchange market. It's really hard to get this currency. And I think it's illegal to take out the country. So I've pulled some strings, I managed to make it happen, and it's like a nice little souvenir. Next, I've got this USB stick, which works on my iPhone. So I've got an iPhone SE, one of the cheap ones. So I've got a bunch of movies on here I'm just going to be listening to, and we've got like a little playlist we're going to put on in the car. So we're going to be listening to some Katy Perry as we're driving through Kazakhstan. Just some shit posts basically. Cool little stuff. The UK special operations at the airport are going to be looking through all my hard drives, looking for dodgy material, which I understand, but they'll find some music and some Futurama episodes. Some good stuff. This is my lifeline right here. So in Afghanistan, it's really hard to get signal because of the mountains and the infrastructure. In Kazakhstan, if you guys don't know, the internet is completely cut off. There's no communication in or out of the country, and that's why we don't know what's going on. This baby right here, it's a satellite communicator, so it connects to my phone, and then from there, I can navigate anywhere around the world. I go to Antarctica and get a map of the area. It works perfectly. It works through GPS, through the Iridium network. So anywhere I travel, I can make a call, I can send a text, I can tweet from this thing. It's brilliant, so I'm going to keep everyone updated this way. And it's got a little SOS button. Won't be much help to me, but worst comes to worst, someone will know I'm in trouble. I've got my camera here, so it's an action camera because I'm going to be doing a lot of running. It's nothing too professional because I'm not going to be able to charge my camera if I had a big, beefy one. I'm going to strap it to my chest or the strap on the backpack, and I'll be able to record here. It's got image stabilization, so when I'm running, you'll keep smooth. It's got an excellent battery, and it's just really compact and portable. Another thing too.
Yeah. Also, there's something which I learned as well is that you have 11 credit cards, right?
Yes, lovely stuff.
Can we show them the lordship? Obviously.
Oh, of course. You'll blur
out the
details.
details.
Let's see. Oh, yes. So, do you mind if you blow out the name too? So, if you guys don't know, after Afghanistan, I legally changed my name through the same bank that I got my lordship with, just in case for my job. But I ended up not needing it. But as you can see here, guys, if you zoom in, here you go.
I'm going to do this. I'm doing this tomorrow, by the way, so I will show on the video.
So as you can see, I've got Lord's prints on my bank card. So whichever hotel I go to or whichever airport I fly from, when I book through this lordship, I get special treatment. So they treat me like a lord because legally I am a lord. It's just it's just a fun little exploit. You never exploit small businesses, only the major ones like those mega corporations no one likes. But it's cool. I don't know, it's just like a nice little thing. So I've got about 10, 12 credit cards. I don't have any debt on them, of course, but I've got a huge credit limit in between them all with a low utilization, which boosts my credit score, which basically means I can borrow a lot of money if I want it. And worst comes to worst, if my life is about to be over, I'll max out all my credit cards, get like at least £100,000, and then just run off into the wild and just never be seen again until I emerge from a Vice documentary in 30 years as a caveman. Yeah, that's the backup plan, even though it's 100% totally not legal, but
yeah, it's all fine.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And what's this thing, man?
Next here, so I've got this book from this Twitter follower I absolutely love. It's called Raw Egg Nationalist. He's just a really good guy in terms of values and actually how to be a good person. But inside, I've got the Putin mask. So
you bring this to.
I'm bringing this to Kazakhstan. So the worst thing you could do is mock the president on the. Is he the president? I don't know. He's a leader or the dictator of Russia. I like Putin. I've got to admit, I like his persona. I like what he's done. I like his videos. But I'm going to wear this to Kazakhstan and it's going to be hilarious. I just want to meme a little bit and just shitpost in the country. That's why I've got not only one, but 2 copies of Borat here. So I'm sure the locals will love that and they're going to have no issues with me. And at the end of the day, I've just got extra small things here. Like I've got a bunch of SD cards, I've got a bunch of cables, flashlights, microphones, emergency equipment. So I've got all this equipment here. And I'm bringing just my bag with me. It's very light. It's full of some...
No body armor this time, though?
No body armor. I called up the embassy yesterday. They said I'm not allowed to bring body armor in. So I'll just buy them at the Soviet surplus store, basically. So I guarantee I can go into Kazakhstan and buy military equipment if I need it, which I might do. I've also got some lanyards in here somewhere. In here I've got a lanyard. And what I'm going to do, oh yeah, here it is. Yeah, there's nothing inside, but when I'm in or in a surrounding country, I'm going to print on a piece of plastic a press card. So I found my own limited company really easily, and then it's going to look all official. So if any Russians question me, they don't like journalists, but they might suspect we're military. But if I show my journalist card, they'll go easier on me, I guess. And it's just kind of funny, because you got all these people, these journalists DMing me saying, Miles, I'm from a big news corporation worth $1 billion, I can't get in. How are you getting into Kazakhstan? And I'm just memeing the entire thing. I'm just making up as I go, and it's going to work. So it's good stuff. This is some of the stuff I'm bringing. Most of the stuff, like the local clothes and everything, I'm going to buy whilst in Kazakhstan or in the surrounding country I'm going to try and blend in. Because even if I go with good thermals, I won't look like a local, and that's the worst thing I can do. So yeah, what can go wrong?
Well, man, I think you're gonna smash it. Please just stay safe, and
we'll try.
Yeah, can you keep me updated as well?
Absolutely, I'll send you updates on here.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So what I would do is I simply turn it on the top. It's backlit just very badly. You can scroll through messages here. I click OK, and then start tracking, new message, mark key points, navigate, utilities, and then you can type out the message on your phone through the app, which sends through a satellite array, which bounces around and then sends to Twitter HQ or your phone or the emergency service and so on. And then I can just see the entire country on a map. It's like basically Google Maps, it's just Garmin's version of it. So I'll be able to go through Kazakhstan knowing where shops are, knowing where big roads are and so on.
All right, that's awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for coming down. This was a great interview. I hope you enjoyed it.
Yes, of course. I love to hear. He's an amazing guy, by the way. What a lad.
And let's do this again once you've completed the big trip.
Yes, of course. I would love to. Straight afterwards.
I've loved this. This is the first ever episode of this new series coming out. So you're the first ever guest, and
thank you.
And yeah, it'll be hard to top, but
no,
man, I'm wishing you all the best. And
I just want to do good work, and thank you for having me on, mate. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you for coming down. All right, that's it. Bye, guys.
Good stuff. Woo! Woo. Oh, lovely. It didn't. I
thought like something. So we're in a pub now. Yeah, that's fine. It's all part of the vibe.
Yeah, very British.
So we're in the pub now, and we're talking about the last plan.
The final plan.
This is quite a sensitive one, of course, because it's something which is, I don't even know much about this.
Yeah.
I've heard little drags and research and little bits from my research, but yeah, let's talk about what this big final plan is.
Yeah, so this is one big final trip where worst comes to worst, I die for a good cause.
And also the context behind it.
Yeah, of course. So, as everyone knows from Afghanistan, my tour guide, he's still stuck in the country. He's a US ally. The only issue he's stuck is because he used to help the US Army, and he is entitled to get out to Dubai and be safe and be given. Yeah, he can get asylum. The issue is he just can't get out of the country because he's famous within the US Army to some degree as a local. If the Taliban sees him, he's shot. His kids are sold into God knows what, and his wife is basically just beheaded. So this excellent man who helped me out is screwed. And so are 10 or 20 other thousand people in Afghanistan. And so I thought, okay, well, I'm out of the country right now. I'll try and help this guy. So I've kept in contact with him constantly. And I thought, I'll send out some emails and then someone will help him. They've got to help. Why not? He's got letters of recommendation from US Army generals. He's got a history. He's done so much service. Someone's going to help him out. I write 500 plus emails, I make so many calls, I call up senators in the US, I message government bodies across the whole of NATO. No one's willing
to try and get him out.
Yeah, no one's willing or able to get him out. It's bizarre to me, because I think, this guy is on the brink of death almost. Because if he runs out of money, he's screwed. If the Taliban knock on his door at the wrong time and burst in, dead. So no one's willing to help him out. The whole of the West have just moved on. And that's understandable for the public eye, but the people who have served along these people, it's embarrassing that the government has basically screwed over these people, per se. So it's gotten to the point where I want to do something about it. And, raising money for charity and donating it to him, it will only prolong the inevitable. if we're being morbid about it. As soon as I got out of Afghanistan, I was planning on going back. So I went full schizo posting and got giant photos of Afghanistan and satellite images. I've plastered them on my wall with duct tape, and I've got little post-it notes jotting down a plan, and I'm labeling checkpoints and all this other stuff. And I'm praying, someone please help me out, because I'm very religious. And my priest goes, Miles, don't go back. My friends say, Miles, that's even stupid for you.
So you would be going back to...
Yeah, that was my plan originally. And then one night I pray really hard, and I get a message on social media from a US soldier, basically. And he goes, hey Miles, we've got a group chat, come join, we may be able to help you out. So when I join this group chat, I detail out my plan. I expect them to go, that's stupid but noble. And they basically go, Miles, we're doing the same thing. So they want to get this American family out, but the issue is they haven't been to Afghanistan, they've served in different countries, and they haven't got the funding. I've got the connections to make this happen, and I've got the will to make it happen, and I've got the experience in Afghanistan.
So what would the plan be to come and basically rescue your tour guide?
Yes, rescue my tour guide, his entire family, and this American family that's stuck there. So the Western governments aren't helping with the last bastion. So there was this one similar operation, it was called Operation Pineapple Express, where some ex-Navy SEALs just stormed into the country a few months after it collapsed and took as many people out as possible.
It really is an organic, informal movement. It started with the assistance provided to one Afghan commando named Nizam. When it became clear that his special immigration visa that he'd applied for 2 years, it wasn't going to get improved in time as Kabul fell, that's when I just thought, man, we've got to do some kind of reasonable action here to honor this promise and prevent what I knew was going to be either imminent execution or serious injury.
So we're planning to basically land in Pakistan. A group of 6 of us, so 6 Marines and me. I'll have the camera equipment, so this whole thing's going to be filmed.
Are you going to be the one filming, or will you be armed as well?
Potentially, yes. I want to keep my non-combatant status. But at the end of the day, if I'm being shot at by the Taliban or ISIS-K, I will pick up a gun and defend myself, because we won't be executed nicely, we'll be tortured and then executed on video for propaganda purposes. So it won't be we won't be bartered, we won't be looked after like prisoners of war. We'll be executed and tortured.
This is high risk, dude.
Yeah, when I've been rumouring this whole thing on social media, and some people roll their eyes when I say operation. This is fully a militarised operation. The Western governments know about this, so the CIA know about this because of their contacts, and I've had to admit this whole trip to UK intelligence services when they interviewed me during my first trip to South Sudan. They don't endorse it, they're not part of it, they're not helping me, of course, they're not associated with it, but they know about it and they're kind of thinking, this guy is stupid, but it might just work. So the plan is, we land in Pakistan, we arm ourselves, we jump the border, either through bribes or sneaking in or whatever means we can. And then we get these people out through satellite phones, we communicate with them, we coordinate, we'll have night vision goggles so we can get these people out of the brisk of night. We've got insider information about where all the checkpoints are, so we know how to work around that. We've got everything we need. And then as soon as we get out, we won't be able to get through the Pakistan checkpoints back to the Islamabad embassy. So we go charter an Mi-17 helicopter that'll take us over checkpoints. That's the plan anyway.
This is insane, dude.
Yeah, the plan is firm, but at the same time, if we notice, the checkpoints are sparse, or we notice another way round, we might improvise, because at the end of the day, nothing's going to go fully to plan because there's so many uncertainties.
And what's going to happen if it doesn't go to plan? Or if
we die. Just straight up, we die.
This is such a risk.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, if we don't do it, no one else has been willing or able to. So
and your tour guide, why are they trying to? Why would the Taliban kill him? And are they hunting him down?
Yeah, they're knocking door to door like it's 1945's Germany, Yeah. So they're knocking door to door, asking where he is. So he's staying with a friend at the moment, who's basically hiding him in a back secret room and in his basement. So my tour guide hasn't been out of the house since August time. So he hasn't been out in many months. His children can barely go to school. he owned a business and everything was in his business bank account because he used to be a tour guide, you know, that's why he showed me around. But then the Taliban seized his account, so now he's just living off pocket change. So I'm having to send him loads of my money, which I don't have, by the way. I don't have loads of money. I'm sending him money just to keep him afloat, because by now he would have starved to death, or he would have been, you know, captured or something. So he's supporting his entire family. So if we don't go in, his 5 children, or 6 children, sorry, are sold into either child slavery, are sold into arranged marriages with the Taliban, which is something they promise the Taliban members. Or, yeah, they're basically just executed. His wife, because by association, she'll be stoned and executed. He will be beheaded on video as a traitor to the new Afghanistan government, basically. Because he colluded with the West, he's seen as the enemy of the state, he will be killed. This American family, I don't know why the US isn't helping, but they're stranded in Kabul, no one can get them out. They're refusing to leave because they have met this old person who's entitled to get out of the country. But the West, for some reason, can't help. Be it the paperwork or the logistics, it's just no one's getting anywhere. So we're refusing to leave this guy and give all the strength to them by helping out this gentleman and not abandoning him, you know, to help themselves. So they're holding out too. So we're going to go there, get them out. We're going to get them to the an embassy, a Western embassy in Islamabad. Now, these embassies, they don't even want to help us out. So if we called up ahead and said our plan, they would do legal proceedings to stop us, because they just don't want the paperwork or the logistics or the publicity. So we're going to storm the embassy with, you know, all our military gear, we'll have cuts in our faces, it will look like Rambo maybe. And we'll go, hey, literally, here's these people, please accept them. If they say not, I'm blowing this up on social media. I'll instantly post about it. I'll have a news crew in Pakistan within 24 hours. You know, some big news channel.
So you're going to be taking them to, so just to clarify, so the plan is to get them out and take them to Pakistan and an embassy?
Through a helicopter. Yeah, or potentially cars, or maybe a different country if something really goes bad.
Do you think it can work?
Yeah, I think so. We've been planning for months. We have weekly meetings where we do video calls, just talking it through, we take notes. It's basically, it feels like a full military operation. And these people are experienced. There's 6 or so Marines that are coming with me. They've got combat experience. They're just as crazy. They like me, I like them. They know I have the spirit, just not the training, so they're helping me out.
It's it's such a horrible situation. Like, it doesn't almost seem real to me, but I'm empathizing with how terrible it is for your tour guide and scary, but it's also it's dangerous. Like, I'm a bit concerned for you as well.
My tour guide, he's not mentally in a sound place right now, so he messaged me, it's in the midst of the Afghanistan night, saying, I heard knocking on doors, the Taliban are trying to find me, this won't be my last message, please help me brother, I'm struggling. And I've been hearing these pleas for months, and I've been panicking every single night when I get these messages, because I don't know what to say. I'm only one person and I can't help directly, but now I've got the connections, and now that I think God has intervened to some degree, you know, he's going to help me out, and I'm fully prepared to die for this cause. Like, if I'm in the mountains of Afghanistan and I get shot, so be it. Like, if this is going to be my legacy, fair enough, I'm glad. I will have no regrets, but if I get out, I'm very thankful. And so what happens is, when we get to the Pakistan embassy, they'll go to Dubai most likely, and they should be safe, and then I'll crowdfund to get them a new life, because he speaks well English, but at the end of the day, it'll be hard for him to start a new life, so I want to give him like a jump start so he's not homeless in the streets of Dubai, alongside his family and everything. I want him to do well, I want to support him, and he's overwhelmingly thankful that I'm just giving him like $100, $200 a month. Like, he's beyond thankful. So, you know, it's the least I could do. Like, I feel morally obligated. And I've had a few people comment. I haven't revealed the trip, but I've basically given like some sparse details, and they've said I've got a savior complex. Yeah, I do, because I want to save these people. There's no one else that can do it. And it's not even a complex, it's just the reality of things. Like, I would be happy not to go back in and risk my life, because I want to have children, I want to have a family. I've been talking to this girl I absolutely adore, and I want to marry her one day, hopefully. You know, so risking this entire future and my friends' well-being if I don't pass, it's big, but at the end of the day, I have to do it. There's no one else, and they won't make it through winter financially if we don't go in February time.
It's also upsetting that the government and other people aren't. Well, I suppose there's not much they can do. Maybe, but they can. But politically in
it's
these
a
things.
bureaucracy and the logistics of organising such things. So only small operations like this will actually work. And to be honest, even if it does work and we have no issue from Pakistan, we go unnoticed and we fly out and we're basically just cheering, we will fly to a different neighbouring country, to Afghanistan. You know, maybe because most Afghanistan cities are on the outskirts of the country. So we'll go to like one of the northern countries where Herat is or Maz Sharif, and we'll repeat it there because we've got access to all the files of people stuck in the country. So if we go unnoticed, we'll go to another country and keep doing this. And this is expensive. Like I'm a student who did some internships and got lucky with some banking jobs, but I have hardly any money, I've got to admit. So I'm basically like going to zero on my bank account and maybe even taking out like big loans just to make this happen. Because it's going to cost like over 30 grand.
Oh, well, I'm hoping, and as well the links to Mars's GoFundMe page, which will be a new one you were raising.
Yeah, if you're watching it right now, either I'm out and all safe, not missing any limbs or not too many, and I will be in massive debt. But at the end of the day, I'd rather, this comes from a Christian standpoint, I would rather be massively in debt for the rest of my life again, or like a good deal of years, knowing that I did the right thing, rather than getting out and just not doing anything about it and then just keeping to my creature comforts in life. That's why I dropped out of university, because I was planning this. I wanted to make this happen. I will not put myself before these other people, because at the end of the day, I don't want to see a dead child on my soul, on my conscience.
I hope you stay safe, man, and I appreciate, respect, and I think you're very noble for doing what you're doing. I just hope that you don't feel too obliged. Like, this is, I get why you're doing it, and I understand it, despite what other critics will say, and I think it's very noble, but please stay safe, and I guess don't feel like this is not your responsibility. Don't put the weight of the success of this on your shoulders. But we've had, I've loved chatting today, and I guess to kind of close, one last question. I think for the people watching and listening, what's and it can be one or two messages, but what's one really message which you've learned over the last year of traveling, or the last year of two of all these experiences? One message that you'd like to give people, or one experience, or something you think people should know about?
I would say I think everyone knows what the right thing to do is, deep down in almost every situation. I would just say just do it and God will look after you. And at the end of the day, you'll know that you're morally right, regardless of what happens if you experience hardship or poverty or so on. For me, it's worked out, and I've experienced the hardships of life. I've been homeless, I've been shot at, I've been accused of being a terrorist, I've been almost kicked out of university. I've had my life thrown up and down many times. But at the end of the day, I'm comforted by the idea that I'm doing the right thing. And I think everyone else should do it, and it'll make the world a great place. Yeah. Like, even if you don't agree with my politics, or my trips even, or my personality, that's completely fine. But I think that's something we can all get behind. Like a lot of the time too on social media, I'm really serious. Oh, sorry, I'm not serious. I'm really jokey, and I goof off and I play pranks. But with my career in banking and my physics degree and this whole Afghanistan trip, there is a serious side. And when I'm serious, it means it's really important to me. So if there's any way that anyone at home can either donate to the GoFundMe to help me pay back the expenses so I'm not in debt for many years, or even just donate to like a homeless person you come across on the street, just buy them like a McDonald's or something, or anything like that. Just do it. It makes the world of difference. And for that person, one day you might be in the same situation. So, it's the least you can do, really.
Yeah, and please do consider it. And I highly encourage you to. All the links will be in the description box of this video. And I think we can do it. I think you've also got the backing of other YouTubers and some big names, and which can help support this cause when it comes out. So it's been awesome, man. This is Mars on a Flat. You've been definitely one of the most, if not the most interesting person I've ever met in my life, or one of the most. And thanks for coming down. And I really hope you stay safe in Kazakhstan. And I want to see you again.
That's okay. If I die, you can still publish this. But if you have a GoFundMe for my funeral, just literally kick me into the river, and I don't know, just
you're gonna be alright.
Yeah, just me, my entire funeral, just shit post it. I don't care. It's fun. Yeah, thank you, man. I do appreciate it. See you around.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Awesome. And thanks, dude. I think can we maybe cut, as in not cut, but we'll no.